Hi, this is Al of Resurrections, an Adam Warlock and Thanos podcast, and proud member of the collective, and you're listening to Into the Night, the Moon Knight podcast.
Yes, welcome back, Looney listeners. You are listening to Into the Night, the Moon Knight podcast. This is episode 212, 212th, and you are with your High Priest of KHONSHU, Ray, returning to the box seat, and joining me on this adventure at the top of the week is returning co-host, returning host, no stranger to the show, Josh Johnson. Josh, welcome back.
Hey, what's going on? It's good to be back on again.
Yeah, it's always been a while between drinks. You know, I try to obviously share the love between such a great loony community. Josh, looking to actually also as well. I don't know, you drop into the Discord server every now and again. Yeah, no, you've been on there.
I think I have it downloaded, but I don't really drop in and say anything. Sometimes I just kind of take a quick look through, but I never have anything good to say.
No worries. It's only because, a couple of the others over there are pretty keen. Invited them, pretty keen to come on the show as well. So a nice kind of a variety of loonies coming on the show. But Josh, you've been on here many a time before. Of course, I think the last time we saw you was episode 200. Got to see you on the game show there. But how are things in general?
Oh, things are going good. We're starting to get in the summer over here, so it's starting to get warm. But we're also having like this really weird fluctuation of weather. So earlier in the week, it was like 93 degrees Fahrenheit.
Oh, wow.
Not I know, because you guys go by Celsius, so whenever you hear us Americans say 93 degrees, that's like the ground is melting.
Yeah, we'd be dead here.
But then like this weekend, it's dropped down to like 55, 60 degrees, and then in a couple of days we back up to 90. It's just like, ugh.
That's a bit weird. People
want to say climate change isn't a thing.
No, it's crazy, isn't it? I mean, that's rife for getting kind of unwell. You know, those massive changes in temperature. Like, I always know that, kind of get the sniffles or whatever. Interesting fact, Josh. I was just watching a nature show just then. You're talking about climate change, and I'm already deviating from our show. It was about the albatrosses. Those birds of the sea. And apparently, when they have young, they have the young in the nest and such. But if the baby should fall out of the nest, like the parents don't recognize it as a baby, like even the sight, the smell, the sound of the baby, they don't recognize. They only recognize it if the baby albatross is in the nest. So with the climate change, the rougher weather and stuff, the storms that happen around the Antarctic, a lot of the babies fall out of the nest, and unfortunately not claimed by the parents. Isn't that a sad thing?
Well, I think it's sort of a common thing with birds. Now, I'm going to come out and admit something. I don't know too much about birds because birds are my biggest fear in this world. So I have no knowledge. Yes.
Have you seen Alfred Hitchcock's The Birds?
No, nope.
Oh, really?
We'll never even attempt to watch it. No way.
I'd like to be a fly on the wall there if ever you do, Josh. Really? Wow. So it's like a phobia?
Yeah, pretty much. I forget what the heck it's called. It starts with an O, I think. Right. Yeah, I forget what it is.
Wow. Jeez. So when did this... I mean, I don't delve too much into it, but when did this first occur? When did you think about this or discover this?
It's okay asking. I tell people this all the time because people are like, "Oh, you wouldn't expect what my biggest fear would be." And it's it could be the tiniest little thing or big geese or whatever. It doesn't matter what it is. But I guess as a kid, I got attacked by some geese I guess I got too close to their nest or whatever. Like, I don't remember the incident happening.
Yeah.
But ever since then, I just remember just being absolutely terrified.
Oh, wow.
Basically, anything with feathers, nope.
Jeez, eh? Oh, you wouldn't like it where I work. There are a couple of ducks around there, and come spring, they get a bit, bit clucky, kind of bite your ankles. I don't like them at all. I thought I liked ducks, but I don't.
Ducks aren't that, like, they're the ones I can sort of, like, I'm not going to go up and get close to one, but, like, I'll be sort of okay around. But,
okay.
Well, in terms of, being in Australia, like, the ones that would really get to me would be, what are they, the magpies?
Oh, yeah. Magpies, you don't have magpies over in the US?
No, not that I know of, no.
Oh, okay. I only say that because, I don't know, Shadow Man from Valiant Comics, his other alter ego is the magpie, so I thought, okay, right, the magpies are kind of everywhere. Right, yeah, no, they're pretty, they're protected, bloody bastards, they're a protected species, and I think they know it. So they, so you can't touch them, but they'll attack you and stuff, yeah. Look, just another quick one. The kookaburras are one of my favourites. They don't take no shit from no one. They're really cool. They, I don't know, they're the ones, that have the laugh, the kookaburra laugh. Have you heard of that?
I've heard of it, but I've never heard personally. I don't know if that's a thing we have over here. Maybe more so in, like, wooded areas, maybe. Okay,
but, yeah. Well, I think that kookaburra is, like, synonymous with Australia, but they have this this call which sounds like they're laughing. It can sound like a person laughing. Anyway, they are so cool. I love them because I tried to get up to, went up to one. Like, where we were living near the bush. I went up to one and I thought I could scare it off because I was mowing the lawn. But it just stared right into my eyes. Didn't move. Like, I go, all right, respect for you then. All right, good on you. So yeah, and I've seen one swoop down and pick a cricket or something out of, from 100 meters away. So they're really good. Anyway, loonies, this is all actually very significant because. Because, I don't know, Josh, if you want to face your fears, you would go up against a bird. And so, Idle Chat, at 212th episode, we are looking at toe-to-toe battles. So we're going to be looking at Moon Knight versus Ninjak. A bit of a flight of fancy, so to speak, Josh, for this subject of Idle Chat. I thought, why not? You admittedly aren't, too into, I guess, who would wins, but should be so.
Yeah, I think it's. I don't know, because really the big thing is, especially if we're like, if it's in a comic, the go-to answer is, well, it depends on who's writing it.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, it can be fun to go back and forth and be like, what if he does this one? So, I mean, like I said, I've never really done like an in-depth one, so we'll see how it goes.
And of course, it's open to, to everyone. Obviously, yeah. So welcoming Josh Geronimo, we're going to do this. And sorry, Josh, you are one of the patroonies as well. Gosh, I've totally gone off the rails. Josh is one of the gracious patroonies. You'll see them listed as co-producers and executive producers on the show. A big shout out to our sponsors. So the patroonies are definitely part of that. So a big thank you to the likes of Daniel, Justin, Derek, Wayne, Jordan, yourself, Josh. James, Russell, and Anthony, a big thank you to you, one and all. It's really fun to let this show kind of flourish and be able to do stuff that normally either would have just had to kind of dig out of my pocket and not be able to afford any comics or anything like that. So a huge thank you. Also, a big thanks to the likes of Darren Doing, one of the patronies for Fringe Knight, an original indie comic based on Erie, Pennsylvania's very own mysterious superhero. Hella Headphones, empowering gamers to play at their best, and Dreamland Comics, the superhero superstore. Now, as we were saying, this is going to be a toe-to-toe battle. See how I deftly changed the name from like a Who Would Wins or a Versus. Toe-to-toes, why not? So, Moon Knight and Ninjak, arbitrarily chosen. Ninjak, just trying. Obviously, we're not going to put Moon Knight up against Galactus or anything like that. It'd be pretty silly. Or so someone kind of like-minded, and we wanted to steer clear, Josh. I think we kind of briefly discussed that. Wanted to steer clear of the obvious kind of throwdown between the other guy. right?
Yeah.
Because let's not tread on any of those toes there. But what I was going to say, Josh, was that these sorts of things as well can also bring out the worst in people. In the fact that, I don't know if you've ever read a lot of the posts of, who would win out of a matchup here and there. I got drawn into one myself, just because I thought, why not? It was it was Superman versus Hulk, and and people were going, oh, look, who's going to win? Oh, yeah, Hulk, no problem. Oh, Superman, without a doubt. And there was this one guy saying, yeah, I don't understand. It's the way people say stuff. And the guy was saying, yeah, Hulk, I don't know what you guys are talking about, blah, blah, blah. And I'm a Hulk fan, right? But I also do a podcast on Superman, so I thought I'd just weigh in. I said, oh, look, Hulk's pretty strong, but you do realise that Superman has historically, he's like pulled planets, right? He's tugged at them and he's, he's done some crazy stuff. And the guy came back, Hulk has held a star and he's ripped a planet in half. You do the maths. And I was kind of oh God, here we go. We're going to go down this road. So it can bring out the worst, and as you say, Josh, the right answer is that however the writer sees fit, that's who will win, because there's just so many variables, the situation, the condition that each of the characters are in. Again, all of that's written in by the writers. So anyway, I'm babbling. So what we're going to do, Josh, I thought as well, and listeners, we're going to do a brief overview of each of the characters. Like, we know our Moon Knight, but we're just going to lay it out. Let's lay it out. We're going to go through just the kind of origins, then their power sets and abilities. I thought maybe significant battles to maybe draw out, how they do maybe win against seemingly greater odds. And I've got here, Josh, I mean, we don't have to put 2 points each as to why, but I think, we are a Moon Knight podcast, and to be fair, we should kind of give points on both sides as why we think that Moon Knight or Ninjak would win. How do you feel about that?
Oh, that makes sense, because if we would just have a matchup and then just say, oh, Moon Knight would win, what's the point of even doing the episode?
Exactly. So, and then I guess what we'll do is then we'll kind of have our final thoughts, Josh, and our verdict as to who would kind of win. So I'll throw this out into the group as well. We got a little bit of feedback, so we can go through that as well, Josh. But I thought, since I don't want to throw you in the deep end, how about maybe you start off with giving a brief rundown of Moon Knight, and we can kind of go from there.
All right. Okay. So, everybody should probably know this by now, but let's go through it. Moon Knight, created by Doug mentioned Don Perlin. So, his background, he's a mercenary, died in the desert, body brought back, and resurrected by KHONSHU at a hidden temple. And he serves as the Fist of KHONSHU, or the Avatar of Vengeance, and obviously he has the DID with Moon Knight, Mark Spector, Jake Lockley, Stephen Grant, Mr. Knight, and if you want to include the Bendis stuff, Wolverine, Captain America, and Spider-Man.
Yeah. Just going on from that, Josh, though, just quickly, because I did have a little read further down. So that, it's kind of generally known, right, that Moon Knight has this DID disorder. It was briefly shown, right, and I don't know whether they still hold true to this during the Ellis run, the fact that apparently it wasn't DID, it is KHONSHU. Forming these constructs and, instilling, those aspects of KHONSHU, like the Pathfinder, Embracer, Defender, and then Mark having to kind of make sense of that. And there's that mention of KHONSHU colonizing his mind, so to speak.
Right.
Yeah, so there's kind of that as well. I guess the there's also as well, I guess we should mention that ambiguity that Moon Knight has. Is he really affected by KHONSHU? And writers sway between the two, don't they?
Right.
Like more recently, it seems open knowledge that KHONSHU exists. So, yeah.
Plus, he also has that, I think they diagnosed it as brain damage, and that's sort of what's causing, I guess, that's what's giving KHONSHU the ability to colonize his mind.
Yeah.
I guess that's what the deal is.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So, yeah. So, in effect, it's not really... It's kind of like Mark's mind suffering like consequential to KHONSHU, you know, rather than it being a mental kind of illness.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, anyway, yeah.
Alrighty. So, Moon Knight stats. So we got all of his stuff here. So his height, 6'2" or 1.88 meters. Weight, 225 pounds or 102 kilos, which coincidentally is pretty much the same exact stats as the other guy.
Is it? Okay, I didn't.
Yeah.
I just copy and pasted. Really? Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I remember hearing that somewhere. Let's see. We got so he has brown eyes and brown hair, and he does have that scar over his left eye, and the multiple times he's been wheelchair bound.
Yeah. So he's. I guess from that you can glean. He's had massive problems with his knees, at least, right, from the Houston run. So yeah, or shins as well.
Yeah, I bet anytime he kicks, those knees just crack every time.
Yeah,
He's
gets
right
up out of the chair
every time. Just like kick. Oh God!
Exactly. So he's probably working with a lot of pain at the moment, you know, or just regular.
Mm-hmm. All right. So now we got his abilities. So he's been a boxer, been a Marine, been a mercenary, and then on ever since then he's been the superhero Moon Knight. He's been an expert in hand-to-hand combat and martial arts.
Various martial arts. I actually thought before when I read it that he was a master of all the martial arts, but yeah. So not like the other guy who apparently knows over 100 different martial arts. Yeah, so Mark knows a few, I guess.
More than most people, we'll say that.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
I couldn't even name probably 5 different kinds of martial arts. So.
Oh, yeah.
But he probably knows all of them. Let's see. He's an Olympic-level athlete, skilled acrobat and gymnast, and excels at combat strategies. And then a lot of that can be excels at combat strategies that could probably be put back to his military career.
Yep.
And obviously, yeah, with all the good martial arts, he can probably teaming that up with the acrobatics makes him jumpy and kicky. So.
Yeah, and also, despite, well, I guess as you said, he's got the same physical stats as Ninjak, but for a big guy as well, he's quite nimble, as a gymnast, and yeah, so that's something that I think a lot of people kind of forget, unless, of course, you read the Mensch Sienkiewicz run, where you see him just kind of like flying and flipping around, but he's a big guy.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, so he's got an expert pilot. Due to being a Marine and mercenary, which, being a guy who sort of knows some stuff about the military, I want to say it might be more so to the mercenary, because I think there's a lot of levels in the military, from being like a regular grunt to being a pilot. So I'm going to say we can attribute that more to his mercenary days. Maybe Frenchie taught him some stuff. All right. Then we got expert detective. Obviously, we see that with especially with the Ellis run, being a detective and private investigator. Broad skills, knowledge, and understanding of the criminal underworld. Knows the streets, and mainly being because of being Jake Lockley. Getting all the what's up. Being at the diner.
Yes, all the words on the street, basically, all the intel.
Plus he has Ricky and Ray feeding him some info too, and Crawley. All right, interrogation expert. Employ military secret police methods of torture to get what he wants, what information he wants, and also a good marksman, capable of hurling all types of projectiles. With good aim and pinpoint accuracy. Obviously, he throws those the crescent darts, and in the Fist of Khonshu, he throws that boomerang thing. So
it kind of, sorry, Josh, it kind of writes him up as being, he's almost as good as, I guess, as Hawkeye and stuff. I mean, if he can slice a bullet in half with a crescent dart, that's pretty impressive.
And he can reflect it back with the. He can reflect it
right.
back with the crescent darts too.
Yeah. That's pretty amped.
All right, and then my page is going all over the place. Let's see. All right, and then he's a weapons master, adept with nearly every weapon invented, ranging from swords, knives, batons, chains, brass knuckles, throwing projectiles, shurikens, longbows, bolos, boomerangs, all types of firearms. Even stuff like Gatling guns and missile launchers, mortars. Jeez.
I mean, remember as well, I found it really cool to see in those backup stories in the Hulk magazine against Lupinar, like how good he is with the sword. So, I mean, we know coming up against Ninjak's, he's a couple of his main weapons are swords. So, it's interesting to note as well that Moon Knight is apparently proficient in it as well. And, yeah.
Right. And I think there's a cover for, is it issue 28 of the Mensch run? I think it's like where he's, it's like a desert cover and there's a guy, like a Middle Eastern guy with a scimitar. Yeah. I think Moon Knight also has one too. Mm-hmm. I know I've read that issue. It's been a long time, but I think there's some sword wielding in there too. So so he's got experience in going against Ninjak. That'll come in handy. Yeah. And then, Master of Martial Arts.
So here we go. There's a list here, Josh. Jeez.
Oh, here we go. Now I can learn. Now I can learn what some of these are because I've never heard of some of them. Let's see. Well, being a former heavyweight boxer, and then he went intense training to be a commando, intelligence operative, and a mercenary, and is skilled in unarmed and armed combat, in boxing, judo, Krav Maga, Salat, Dambe, Savat, Eskrima, Karate, Muay Thai, and Kung Fu. I'm sure I butchered the pronunciation for some of those other ones. Like I said, I've never heard of them.
That's pretty impressive. I remember the main ones for me was apparently like in the 80s, and that Savate or whatever was quite popular. I'm not sure if that was a Brazilian one or not. But Muay. It says as well, I mean, it says master martial artist. I don't think he's, like, supreme. Like, if you look at, say, the likes of Iron Fist and Shang-Chi, he's not like a master of these arts. I think he's just been trained in them. So he's probably good enough. But, by no means is he, like, the top tier of these martial arts. Yeah,
good enough to take on regular schmucks, but not enough to take on the people who are really trained in it.
Exactly.
His knowledge is extensive enough that he has shown to be that he can use pressure points against opponents, striking nerve clusters to stun or instantly incapacitate. And on more than one occasion, without powers, he's fought the Punisher to a standstill, who has similar training.
Yeah, and I guess should be noted as well, the Punisher, well, again, in the wiki, describes he's got a very high pain tolerance. So kind of like Moon Knight. Like Moon Knight will, he doesn't defend himself. So Punisher's very hard because he's got all the training, he's skilled to a degree, but he'll just keep on coming at you no matter how hurt he is. So if Moon Knight can hold him to a standstill, that's pretty impressive.
And we've seen in the Punisher show that he can take a tremendous amount of beating and still be good enough to kick your ass and kill you.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Let's see. So he's multilingual.
Well, very important for this. For this fight.
I don't know how much that would be. I mean, I guess if both him and Ninjak, they can curse at each other in other languages.
Yes. words hurt the most.
So in addition to speaking English, Spector is fluent in Arabic and has demonstrated his proficiency in Egyptian and Sudanese. And now I think about it, it could be used as a taunting method because I think isn't Ninjak British?
Yep.
Okay, well, being that he can that Mark can speak these other, Arabic and Egyptian and Sudanese, with the, I guess, the colonial ties those countries have to Britain, maybe a little bit of digging from that. I don't know.
A bit of psychological warfare. I like it. I like it. Coming at him from all fronts.
Mm-hmm. Ninjak won't know it'll piss him off, but when he hears it, he will.
Exactly.
All right, and then obviously Moon Knight has a high pain resistance.
Mm-hmm.
He has the insanity, he can stand torture, spiritually gifted, or he's just simply numb from being beat to shit all the years.
Yeah, exactly. He just doesn't care anymore.
And he does have some telepathic resistance too, given he has the multiple personalities, and I'm sure whatever whole kind of KHONSHU has on his mind, that can be, having a god kind of protect your mind could give you some protection mentally, I guess.
Yeah, it's interesting also as well that recently the run I read, I believe it was the two annuals, the Avengers annual and the West Coast Avengers annual that I did with Justin. It was interesting use of his telepathic resistance because Moon Knight has these, say, like 3 or 4 identities. So what had happened was, I can't remember if it was the Collector or the Grand Master, one of those, one of them, they incapacitated all the Avengers, but Moon Knight kept on coming because apparently he incapacitated the mind. Like, don't stop me with details here. So he incapacitated Mark Spector's mind, but Moon Knight kept on coming because he had these other minds in his head. Mm-hmm. And the Collector or Grandmaster was going, I don't understand. You should be unconscious now. Like he's going, and he kept on coming, and he managed to punch him or something. And then he explains, well, you knocked out Mark Spector, then you knocked out Jake Lockley. Stephen Grant was still conscious. Yeah. So, interesting use of that mental capacity by the writers, I think, and it could be handy in this battle against Ninjak.
And I think, too, in one of the issues we reviewed, I think it was one of the Avengers one, I think it was like 211 or something, where, remember, they were gathering all the members to try and get new, and I think, was it Moondragon, she tries to do something, mentally to everybody to, hey, come here, but I think because we actually see Moon Knight's sort of reaction, and he has a kind of a weird reaction. So I wonder if that had something to do with that similar too.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, and whether that is from his own kind of internal mental, issues, or as you say, some influence from KHONSHU. So he does have a god backing him. So again, that's a pretty mighty thing to have taking into the battle with Ninjak.
Right. All right, so getting to his physical strength, he has the strength of a normal human his age and his height and build. Mm-hmm. And someone who has intense regular exercise. He could formally press lift twice his body weight, 450 pounds, but since losing his powers, he's been routinely weight lifting and probably stronger. And then, of course, under the light of the full moon, which his powers get amplified. He can lift about 2 tons, but he doesn't really have those powers anymore.
Well, I don't know. I'm going out on a limb here, Josh. I'm thinking for this instance, just because I think we should give each of these opponents as much as they can. Okay. Can we just say that as an option, Moon Knight has this as well?
All right. So he has the Fist of KHONSHU powers.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's just say that, because I don't know, it might be interesting.
All right,
maybe not.
yeah. I mean, if we want to give them kind of everything that both of them have, it would make sense.
Yeah,
but I think
as
punishment,
sorry.
He should have to wear that costume then, though.
yeah, for sure. I feel Ninjak is quite an opponent. I mean, we'll get to his stats. It may seem unassuming, but I've read his stuff, and he's pretty lethal anyway.
Yeah, I actually just read I haven't read much Ninjak, but just this morning before we hopped on here, I do have the first issue of his, the initial run from 1994, and I read, I'm like, right. Wow, he is pretty brutal.
Oh, okay. Well, he was retconned a couple of times, rebooted.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 2012 is he's pretty good. So anyway,
Yeah, I have one of the trades, but I don't remember. I think I have four.
I
think I ordered like number 1 or 2 like of the trades, and they sent me like number 4 instead. I'm like, I mean, I'll keep it. I mean, I'll eventually get the others, but I haven't.
Yeah, but you don't. You're kind of stuck. You're in the middle or towards the end or whatever. So,
Right.
Yeah.
All right. Anyway, so back to Moon Knight. So, and obviously we're just gonna go through his weaknesses real quick. So obviously he has that brain damage and mental illness. It's believed that Mark suffered from DID, but it is determined that the different personas were consequences of having become KHONSHU's avatar. KHONSHU has 4 aspects: Pathfinder, Embracer, Defender, and the Watcher of Overnight Travelers. And Spectre cycles through these aspects, and his brain applies identities to them in order to explain them. Mark's mind has basically become colonized by KHONSHU, and different personalities are a way to cope with the damage. So this is kind of stuff we mentioned earlier.
Yeah. I think another weakness, I mean, maybe not, is the fact that he can be distracted as well. I guess with all that's going in his head. Kind of seen that, you kind of see that to an extent in some of the runs with KHONSHU, just barking at him. So that can be a crutch as well.
I think we can also put in weaknesses pills and alcohol from the bottom.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, for sure. Cool.
All right.
And then we just got, I guess, some of his gear.
Right. Well, so Moon Knight's suit, it's changed multiple times. The first one we know had was Kevlar. Had a built into a radio system, so Moon Knight could talk to Frenchie or whoever's in the moon copter. Is later upgraded to from Kevlar to the adamantium, and he had the dart launchers on the gauntlets as opposed to having to throw the crescent
just
darts.
Throw them.
Yep.
Yeah.
Which I like those launchers. It just makes a lot more sense. I know some people don't like them, but I like them a lot better.
Well, that makes sense. I remember, didn't Moon Knight, was it there was one instance I can't remember offhand. He threw the crescent dart, through it just with his arm, and it cleaved a bit of metal or something. It's how hard would he have to throw it?
Right.
To do that? So yeah, the launches make a bit more sense.
And just convenience too. Just raise your arm and shoot instead of having to. Okay, let me grab it out of here, and I got to make sure I throw it and just point and shoot. That's all you got to do.
Exactly. Let me wind up. Hang on. Let me just get a good. Yeah.
This alley's really small. I can't extend my arm the full way. Oh, this sucks. Yeah.
That's it.
All right. And say he has that glider cloak, so though he can't fly, he can use the cloak to glide from great heights or from the mooncopter, which helps moving around. Though the cloak isn't armored, but it's still flexible enough to be used for what it is. And then let's see, carbonadium armored vestment.
Very cool. Vengeance of the Moon Knight. Yeah.
Okay, this is something I'm not familiar with. I haven't read that run.
Oh, okay. Well, there's just one. Look, there's not. I mean, the most popular, I think, reminiscence of that armor is that Moon Knight. He uses it to be able to prop up a building. So he's wearing the suit, and he can ask the carbonadium, or he can get the carbonadium armor to kind of lock the joints or whatever. So in effect, it just becomes like a jack, just he props up this whole building. So it's pretty powerful stuff in that sense, and he even slipped out of it, and everyone thought he was still in it. I don't know how he did it without them seeing. It's a pretty nifty little suit.
Interesting.
I'd say the adamantium suit's probably the strongest, you'd think, out of it all. Yeah, so...
And the most I know about that carbonadium is that I think that was a trivia question you asked some sort of...
it was.
I don't remember reading that.
Yes.
I don't know, I guess, what the features in that suit, too, besides the ability to hold up a building, has dart launchers, cable line for swinging, grappling, jump jets, and laser cutting torch. Jeez.
Wow.
That's pretty full armament.
Yeah, it's got a few bells and whistles in that. So I guess needless to say, he's got his gadgets up there. So does Ninjak too. So again, this should be a good matchup.
Hello, I'm Alan.
I'm Rebecca.
And if you're listening to this, then we recommend that you check out our podcast, the DCAU Podcast, where we watch the original DC animated movies, starting from Batman Mask of the Phantasm and continuing on to Justice League Dark, Apocalypse War, and beyond. And we will cover such heroes as Batman,
Superman,
the Batman,
Wonder Woman,
Victorian Steampunk Batman,
The Flash,
Batman Beyond,
Green Lantern,
Old Man Batman,
Martian Manhunter.
and plenty more versions of Batman.
Lots and lots and lots of Batman.
You can find the DCAU podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or anywhere else that you can get podcasts by looking up the DCAU podcast and subscribe today.
Hello, this is Tom Brevoort. You are listening to Into the Night, the Moon Knight podcast.
Thanks, Josh, for that. I guess also as well, it's funny, I'm just thinking about it. Moon Knight, wearing white, he wants people to see him coming, completely opposite to Ninjak, who is all about stealth. That's one of his main weapons as well. Like, if you read a lot of his comics, he does, he won't resort to face-to-face combat and stuff unless he has to. He's very sneaky, I'll get to it later. He beats Exo Manowar in the most kind of unconventional way, but it's a win's a win. So Exo Manowar, for those that don't know, one of the biggest hitters in the Valiant universe, very, very not OP, but just really mega powered. I
think I actually have that because I do have, I think, 2 or 3 trade paperbacks of Exo Manowar, like starting from like the 2012 reboot. And I think in the second volume, he fights Ninjak.
He does, yeah, in the Vendetti run. And again, it's unconventional. I mean, if you're looking at raw power, Exo would beat him easy, but again, the stealth is the winner. So running through this, Ninjak, aka Colin King. I know Rebecca loves it. Isn't it cool having a superhero? His first name's Colin. Anyway, created by Mark Moretti and Joe Quesada back in July 1993. Sorry, I forgot to put in the notes there, Josh. For Moon Knight, we're looking at the official date, August 1975, so a lot older character. Ninjak is a child of the 90s. Basically, he's been rebooted a couple of times, and I guess more recently, 2012. His story is that he comes from a very wealthy family. Again, there are some parallels with someone there. Ends up having gadgets. His parents are actually MI6 agents, and they really don't pay a lot of attention to him. So he has a very cold upbringing. It turns out that his butler actually trains him in the harsh realities of life and in combat. So he has a proclivity for this. He decides to join MI6 as well when he's kind of young, and he has a training agent or a handler, I think they call him, Angelina Alcott. Ends up having an affair with her. She dies. She gets killed by an assassin called Zaman. He's an agent of the Undead Monk. Now, the Undead Monk is a very kind of, it's kind of how shall I say, like a Kunlun, Yutai, but is really freaky. He's constantly bleeding, and he's just very creepy. Anyway, so Ninjak, gets the shits, obviously, and he wants to get revenge. He infiltrates, so he goes undercover, gets into the Undead Monk's monastery, manages to kill Zaman, but he doesn't get time to kill. He wants to kill everyone in there, like destroy it all. Doesn't have time to. And so he kind of goes away. Then he ends up kind of working for Neville Alcott. He's the new handler of MI6, and Neville's pretty good. I wouldn't say it's ambiguous as to whether he's good or bad. For me, Neville seems pretty much on the straight and narrow, but there are some dubious things like Ninjak being asked to steal the exo armor. We won't get into it too much, but it's kind of like a secret invasion, Josh. There are these kind of shape-shifting aliens called the Vine, and it turns out that Neville was impersonated, I think, by one of them.
Okay.
So, yes. So essentially, Ninjak is kind of good, but he does really terrible things. The best way to describe him, there's a matchup. I like to think, of course, there's James Bond, because he's English. I'll use the one reference in this episode, Batman. And also, I think a bit of Black Widow, because there's that espionage, and he's very good at sneaking around. But he is, and maybe Captain America, in the fact that we'll get to his traits, but he's the peak human. He's trained himself to the peak human abilities. Maybe that's, similar to the Dark Knight as well. Anyway, a couple of notable, the Shadow 7 are massive. They're like the top tier ninja assassins. One of his main adversaries, and Roku as well. She's, I don't know, Josh, are you? I'm not a big DC fan. Lady Shiva, like, she must be up there, like, or Elektra. She's like one of the really kick-ass assassins. So that's Ninjak. That's his kind of background. Stats-wise, a lot of it's redacted and top secret. But he is English, born in Leicester, England. He's got black hair, blue eyes. 182 centimeters. Oh, actually, so Mark's taller. He's 188. So Ninjak a little bit. Oh, and significantly lighter, 83 kilos. So Mark was 200 odd pounds, which brought him up to 100 kilos. Like he's a heavyweight boxer, right? So Ninjak's more,
sleek.
More sleek. I'm in no way sleek, but that's about my weight. But I'm not as tall as that as well. So I'm in the 80 range. But Mark's, a good 20 kilos. A good, what's that? I can't do the maths. He's a fair few pounds, a bit more. Date of birth, don't know. He's active, and everything else is redacted. He's a freelancer as well. So he actually kind of goes against MI6 every now and again as well. And again, that's good because he's got his not own agenda, but he's got his own morals as well. But having said that, he's good at carrying out instructions as well. So it's a bit of a balance. Okay, as for, I'll get through this, powers and abilities. Now, the main thing here, Josh, is his body supremacy. So actually, he's kind of like Daredevil in the way, like, you know how Daredevil can like meditate and he can heal a bit quicker? Apparently Ninjak's the same. He actually, when he infiltrated the undead monks' monastery, he learnt some of the mystical arts there. So he's able to, there's actually one point where his spine is broken and he manages to heal himself in a really quick time. Wow. So this is a broken spine. So he's got mastery over his body. Like, he can really just use that. Master, hand-to-hand combatant, martial artist. I don't know how many martial arts, but, from the comics, he's pretty good at it. Like, he's just really cool. Master of stealth, as I said before, he's a ninja, and he's one of the best. So he will attack you not front on if he has to. He'll get around ways. And I'll couple that with, he does have super genius level intelligence. So I don't know if we're talking Reed Richards here. Josh, it might be, say, Tony Stark, but he's pretty smart, so that will help him. He's a specialist as well, and he's got this peak human condition, agility, endurance, reflexes, speed, and strength. Talking about, a guy of his height, weight, and build in intensive regular exercise. I guess this is it to the top level. Where the equipment is all about the gadgets, right? So he's got drones, he's got nanotech, he's got smart contact lenses. He's got everything under the sun. Again, it's up to the writer. He'll just pull it out of his pouch. He's got battle boots, a battle mask, a battle vest, He's got the utility belt, and this includes I don't know. It's so specific here. Like, I don't know if you're reading this now, Josh, but it just sounds so complicated. But it sounds like he's got a whole lot of wallop here, like a bionic supercharged exoskeleton. So probably can enhance his abilities. He's got 4 kick blades as well, so they can like stick out, and he can stab you like X-23 or something. He's got cyanide. He's got a cyanide distribution system, so he can poison you. And his battle vest, he's got like a med kit as well, a heart fibrillation control. So if he's in danger, I guess his battle vest will kind of help him in some regards. His gauntlets have got joint strengtheners, so that's similar to the carbonadium vest. So that can strengthen him. He's got truth serum. He's got grappling hooks, flamethrower. He's got a cestus as well.
Jeez.
He's got knockout gas, palm spikes. He's got it all. If you look at him, you can't see that it's all packed in there, but apparently it is. Razor discs, incendiary darts. He's got a sniper rifle. Katanas are his main kind of go-to, and shurikens as well. But also, I think, did it mention there, he's a master marksman as well. So he's pretty good with his aim. So that's similar to Moon Knight. Now, significant wins, I mentioned this, he defeated Exo, Manowar, Arik of Dacia, and he did that by hurling a shuriken. Arik didn't have his helmet on, sliced his ear, had a tranquilizer, that sort of thing, and then he basically managed to defeat him just like that, pretty easy. But he's gone toe-to-toe with him as well. Like, they fight, and he goes toe-to-toe, but of course he's smart, so he doesn't stay too long. He can't beat Exo when he's fully functioning.
Right.
But he's defeated the Shadow 7 members, so they're pretty deadly. And if you're to take his canon, there was a little mini-series. He actually beats the Valiant universe as well. So he's been Eternal Warrior, he's an Immortal, he's beaten Archer and Armstrong. Livewire, he's one of the most powerful Valiant characters, and Bloodshot, who is pretty hard to kill as well. So there you go. I don't know. Here we go, Josh. With all of that under the belt, how would you see it unfold between these two? Where do you think the advantage is for Moon Knight, for instance, in actually winning this?
Well, if we're going with Moon Knight having powers, I think obviously I think I'll outstrength him.
Yeah.
And I guess maybe with his ability to handle pain and getting beat up pretty good, he might be able just to outlast Ninjak. But other than that, I'm kind of leaning more towards Ninjak, kind of in every other category.
Yeah, I mean, he seems it stacked up against him. Like Ninjak's got a whole friggin' kit of like gadgets here and there. The strength definitely, I think, from Moon Knight as well. Look, if we're to take him with the adamantium armor as well, I mean, adamantium being the strongest thing there is, that's got to help him as well. But I can't help but think as well the problem with Moon Knight is, as you said, like he'd rather take a punch than block it, and I don't know if that goes for all these toxins and stuff that Ninjak would have. If he throws some gas or something at him, would Moon Knight just think he'd just wave that off? He'd be in serious trouble if Ninjak does do that. Other stuff like katanas and all that, I think it's fine. I mean, with the adamantium armor and Moon Knight's expertise in hand-to-hand and weapons, he should be able to go toe-to-toe with Ninjak. But it's more of those crafty, sneaky things that I think will kind of trip Moon Knight up. So we haven't actually started off well here, Josh. I mean, we've asked how Moon Knight would win this, and I think we've both come to the agreement that he's in trouble from the get-go.
Well, how about this? Since we said about we're giving both of them everything to be able to kind of have the maximum effort from both of them. Yep. I think if Ninjak is carrying all that shit that he has, I think he's going to have a significant weight, like trying to move around. Like you ain't going to be jumping and sneaking around and like jumping out from shadows and whatnot when you got a sniper rifle and a flamethrower and like 2 rocket launchers strapped to your knees.
No, hang on. He's 20 kilos lighter. So say he's got 20 kilos worth of equipment, then they're on an even keel. Then it's there's no difference.
Well, I'm saying Ninjak could be overweight if he's carrying all that stuff.
Oh yeah, okay.
Because if we're saying we're giving him everything, because I'm looking at that list, I'm like, there's that is so much shit. But
there is a lot.
I'm assuming that he doesn't carry all of that at one time. But for the sake of the fight, we should be like, you're carrying all that at one time.
Yeah,
he's going to have some movement restriction and some weight on him.
He certainly is. No, that's a good point. That's a good point. Oh, look, also another one, which is I'm thinking the big elephant or deity in the room. If we're going to give either of these guys any of their traits, if KHONSHU does step in, and gives Moon Knight a sliver of the moon, so to speak, that we saw in Serpent War, and basically turn Moon Knight into what we saw at the Avengers run with Jason Aaron, he'd be pretty hard to beat. This guy beats Thor, Doctor Strange, Iron Fist, who else? He beats all of those. Ghost Rider as well, so... that would be pretty hard. Like if KHONSHU decides to somehow kind of augment Moon Knight, then I think Ninjak's got a lot of trouble there. But having said that as well, Ninjak's also is actually, although he actually hates magic, he stated, I think he's kind of like Tony Stark in that sense. He always mentions that like, I hate magic. He has actually entered hell as well, with a suit. I don't know the details, but he fashioned himself a suit, and he went to hell with Shadow Man and a couple other characters, Pump Mumbo as well. So he can fight against, quite overpowered beings too. So I don't know. I'm just thinking for Moon Knight, if he goes down the mystical or magical route, then Ninjak might be in trouble as well. Yeah. Well, we may have said most of it. How about for Ninjak then? What do you reckon Ninjak would... how would he... I think his stealth would be the big thing against and his intelligence. We know Moon Knight is a strategist as well. Like, he's not the best, but it says that he's got like some pretty proficient combat strategy, methods. Ninjak, again, having read a lot of the comics, the way he just carries himself and he goes about just being very economical with combat, I think Moon Knight would find hard. Moon Knight wants you to, as he says, he wants you to see him coming. He wants you to get involved in that fight, whereas I think Ninjak will actually go the stealthy route.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. I think the stealth will always have the advantage over just being out in the, like, just as a more of a real world example, but not on the same level. Right now I'm doing my annual read through of the Nam stuff. So it's like, if you take Vietnam as an example, Moon Knight is sort of like, the Americans, out, just like out in the open, you can kind of see them.
I know. Yeah.
And then Ninjak is like, the VC, and just hitting from side to side, whatever. You don't know where they're at, and kind of look at the outcomes of that, and that's kind of how I take this. With Ninjak, he can, with his stealth, I think that's really the big advantage he has. Plus, he does have the, he has all of the little sneaky gadgets or whatever that like he could throw in there. So I mean, and just a flat out, hand to hand fight, I think it would be even. But once Ninjak would employ all those little things, I think that would give him the upper hand.
Yeah, I'd agree as well. Another analogy, I guess, would be the boxing one. I think Ninjak would probably play the long game. So if he'd like jab Moon Knight 200 times, not get him with a killer blow, he'd kind of wear him down and beat him. Whereas I think Moon Knight would be looking for like that knockout punch straight away, which again would be very hard against someone as agile and stealthy as Ninjak. it's it's pretty difficult, I think. I had another another thought, just kind of lost it at the moment there, but I think I don't know. Any other? I'm just trying to think. Sorry, Josh. I had a really cool little thing there. Anyway.
Yeah, I think it's. I don't know if we have really any other things. Oh, go ahead.
Oh yeah, no. It was just about that kind of again tied in with that boxing thing. I think if it's a short encounter, there's a good chance that Moon Knight could win. You know, because he's like a bull in a china shop. It would seem. You know, he's agile and all that as well, but he's going to try and lay you out. Both of them as well, mind you. They're both kind of say like the Punisher. They have no problems with killing, so there's none of that kind of ethics holding them back. They both can deal a killer blow. But I feel if the longer game is given, like the longer it goes as well, I think Ninjak probably has a better chance. So like with all that evasion again, and probably coming in with his gadgets, and then he's obviously got the ability to deal out that killing blow as well. I think that's really hard for Moon Knight to come up against. Interesting also as well, Josh. It's funny that they've almost got like complementary abilities in the fact that Ninjak he's got this supremacy over his body. He can like control his body and heal it. Whereas Moon Knight prefers to abuse his body. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And he will he won't injure it. Like he won't heal it, but he'll like put it through the ringer to get the job done.
Right.
Just a bit of a difference there. But yeah, sorry, if there's any other final thoughts here, Josh?
I'll just tie on what you said. That also can go against Ninjak, is while you say Moon Knight, like he'll take a beating and get the job done, whereas Ninjak might be a little more cautious about making sure, like not putting himself in too much harm's way because he does want to risk taking a hit. So that could go. That could go against Ninjak. But then another thing we didn't really take into consideration, the location of where this fight would be happening. Mm-hmm. So like I'm thinking that, you know, if it's in like a small, like if it's inside maybe a building or something like that, I think Ninjak would have the advantage. But if it's somewhere out in the wide open, I think Moon Knight might have more of an advantage because Ninjak wouldn't have the. Maybe like because it's like you can't be stealthy if you're in a wide open field.
No, exactly. If they're in the desert, they'll be pretty hard to.
Right.
That would be nullified. That's true as well. No, definitely. Interesting thoughts there. Finally, as well. Again, I had another little tidbit. I think. Anyway, let's leave it at that, I guess. So. With all that in mind, then Josh, how would you see this going? I know it's a very abstract thing to say because we need to deal with conditions, environment, as you say, but overall, if they did kind of come together in a meeting, who do you think is the better for it?
I think I'd still have to just give it to Ninjak. I think.
Yeah.
As well, as much as it pains me to say that, but I think Ninjak would just he would just be able to. Just I guess I think the sneaky attacks would be the one to would be the defining reason that Ninjak would win. I think. Yeah.
Look, also as well. I mean, sorry, just. I would tend to say, so as well, as much as I hate it and as much as this is a Moon Knight podcast, I think it's very hard to go against it. Like one of the other things that I did forget, and I just remembered, Josh, to say, if we're talking about like the mental side of things, now like Moon Knight has got like that fractured personality and the fractured mind, which could be a pro and con, you know, depending on, as we mentioned before, those multiple identities could serve Moon Knight well. Again, it could be a it could be detrimental to his performance. With Ninjak, there was one example I was thinking, I think it was in Unity, which is like the Valiant Universe's version of the Avengers. So all those superheroes kind of get together. Ninjak does have, from his training with the Undead Monk, he does have like limited, it would seem, I don't know, almost mystical abilities. There was one moment where they were all, I guess, under the hypnosis or under the thrall of this alien race. And Ninjak actually meditates, and he telepathically kind of somehow gets into this mindscape, and he actually draws everyone out. So if it becomes a mental battle, again, I'm thinking of, citing, say, had you read Contagion, Josh, with Moon Knight? It was a recent mini event. Okay. Well, in that instance, Moon Knight's mind kind of like, he was the savior. Like, it had Iron Fist, it had all the street, like Luke Cage, White Tiger and all that, and Elektra, I think, was even in it. There was this big kind of bad thing, and Moon Knight said, oh, look, only I can do it. And his mind, because his mind was made up of multiple personalities, managed to defeat this. I can't even remember the details. But I guess what I'm saying is that Ninjak also has this ability in the mental mindscape to actually, do something. So if it was a mental battle and you have Moon Knight's unorganized, fluid kind of mind, Ninjak has this kind of disciplined, meditative kind of mind that he can actually counter with. So, yeah, I find it pretty hard for Moon Knight to get him, unless he basically just lops his head off at the beginning somehow. It's interesting as well. I was about to say, like, I'm not too sure about Ninjak's, if he has got a glass jaw as well. He's been knocked out during the comics and stuff. I just can't remember, because it's very, like, it's rare that he gets caught off guard. But I just wonder if he gets dazed and stuff, that he's in massive trouble, or again, does his training allow him to remain focused even though he's like concussed or whatever? So, if it is, then Moon Knight's got some problems. But if Moon Knight can kind of daze him early and just hit him around really quickly, then he's got a bit of a chance, and he'll finish him off pretty quickly. But yeah, giving it to Ninjak as well.
So just tying into the whole, like, I'm sort of thinking this, like, kind of as we're talking about it, like seeing it like on like a comic page.
Yep.
Like, I think, like, now that you told me that whole thing where Ninjak can go into the mind and fight, wouldn't it be cool for, like, say, they're fighting or whatever, and either, like, Ninjak has Moon Knight down, and he's like, well, you got me down, but, like, I still have the power of, like, in my brain or something like that, and, like, then it basically molds into a fight where Ninjak meditates and then fights, and then Ninjak would fight, Mark Spector, Stephen Grant, and Jake Lockley. Yeah. Like, that would actually be pretty cool.
That would be pretty cool as well, actually. Yeah, you have like 2 layers of fights, and I can see that'd be pretty good as well, and how that goes up to the writer. But yeah, Ninjak's pretty mentally resilient as well, so pretty strong stuff there. Let's jump to, we did get a little bit of feedback here, Josh. Short, sharp. We'll just skip the one from YouTube. We'll put that to the end. But we got a couple of a couple of comments from our Facebook group and page. Josh, would you like to take the Facebook group, and I'll go for the page.
Alrighty. So the first one is from Tomes of Evil. I don't remember who does that one.
Russell.
Okay, that is Russell. Okay, that's what I thought, but I wasn't sure. So that's what Russell Moran. He says, "Oh hell yeah! As much as I love Mooney, I don't know how the FE can beat Ninjak. Ninjak seems to have a solution for everything."
Yeah, he's kind of like that as well, in the fact, again, of a particular character. He seems to have a plan for everything, so it's really hard to go up against someone that apparently is already a plan. Like Black Panther. Black Panther has a plan for everything. Let's say that. And
he has like a gadget for everything, which is funny. It's like now, like, okay, like obviously, I am a B-Man fan, but it's like now that I see that all laid out for Ninjak, I'm just like, boy, all that stuff makes him really not that interesting if he just has a thing for everything.
Yeah. True. I know, because you like to see the flaws. You like to see, how they can overcome adversity. But yeah, anyway, Ninjak is what he is.
All right, so then the other one was from Matthew Taylor. He says, I think Moon Knight's general refusal to dodge will be his undoing here. Ninjak's superior fighter, martial artist, and is completely willing to kill, giving him a clear advantage.
Yeah, no, thank you, Matthew. I think, as we discussed here, Josh, of course, his refusal to dodge. Potentially, yeah, I think Ninjak is a superior fighter or martial artist. He probably is. But, I mean, Moon Knight's no slouch. And let's not forget Moon Knight is willing to kill as well. So, well, he was, and then JMD Mateus kind of changed that in Mark Spector Moon Knight. But I think he kills again. I can't remember. He used to. Well, he likes to carve faces off. So
yeah.
That's.
I mean, he might kill, but he'll beat you to like a barely beating pulse, or barely beating like corpse. So.
Yeah, actually, he's more sadistic these days, isn't he? Like, he actually carves that crescent moon into your forehead and just lets you live in fear the rest of your life, though. That's, yeah. But I'm sure he'll...
Or he'll drop the glider on you and break every bone in your body, but you're still alive.
True. Absolutely true as well. That's it. Yeah, true. So, yeah, anyway, Matthew, I think you're on the same lines, overall with Josh, myself, and Russell. But going to the Facebook page, let's see here. Thank you. We've got a couple of comments here from Steven Siatno. And he says, just realised they're cut from the same cloth in terms of mercs adopting different cultures. Yeah. I think so. Do you know what Steven might be alluding to here? Is this for Ninjak going into the undead monastery?
I have no idea, to be honest.
Yeah, I couldn't see the correlation there, Stephen, but sorry, maybe I'm just dumb. But no, thanks for that. Anyway, Stephen goes as well. I guess Mark, because he has superpowers, but Ninjak can also take down all of the Valiant heroes without superpowers. I'll say Ninjak. So Stephen's turned around and he says Ninjak as well. So it does seem that Ninjak has the clean sweep here, Josh. Yeah, it's very hard. Loonies, we would love to hear from you as well. Have we stirred the pot a bit? Have we kind of irked you enough to drop us a line and tell us why Moon Knight should win this one? If you're unfamiliar with Ninjak, hopefully the coverage here has kind of helped you. Check out, Josh, what was that issue that you said back in '94? Did you?
Oh, it was just Ninjak number 1. That was just
is that the that really kind of glossy cover?
Yep, it has
with him jumping.
It's holographic, I think, on the front and back cover. I think, yeah. I got it for like $1 like a couple years ago, and I haven't read. Like, I guess now's his best time as ever to read it. And then and then you open it up and it's like it blinds you with the holographic. That's pretty good.
Yeah, from memory, I remember loving it because Joe Quesada was on art, or at least on cover. At least I'm not sure if he did. I can't remember if he did the interiors.
Yeah, he did the inside.
He did the interiors. Yep. Yeah, I love his art. But that was a good one as well. But so 94, the Ninjak series, also highly recommend Ninjak 2012 onwards. It's a very good run by Matt Kint. Can't laud it enough, and you get a real good sense of the espionage, but also the fighting skills of Ninjak. Also, as well, what Josh and I mentioned, Exo Mana War. If you check, Josh said, I think Trade 2. I can't remember the issues off there. It might be. I
think most of those Valiant trades are like only 4 issues each, so it would be like 5 through 8 or something like that. Read that run too. Like Exo Mana War is like super interesting. Like if you haven't read, if you don't know anything about Exo Mana War, it's pretty much a combination of Thor, Iron Man, and Captain America all wrapped into one.
Yeah. How cool is that? It's so funny, isn't it? It's a man at a time, Captain America. It's like a Visigoth. Is Arik Adacha from, thousands BC. Mm-hmm. So it's like a Viking, like Thor. Very barbaric in that sense. But also he's got this suit of armor, which is alien, so not tech. So he's got everything. Yeah. He's like a conglomeration of everything. But he's a really cool character. Ninjak goes up against him, and as I said, Ninjak's beaten him and they kind of go up against each other every now and again. I don't know. I think their relationship is a little bit tense, but both of them are generally good guys. So. Yeah. Finally, just before we wrap this up, Josh, I just want to give a shout out, another bit of Nightlines from YouTube, CMK7, beep boop, beep boop, boop, for episode 209, and where Justin and I talked about Moon Knight Collected, which is about the collected format of Moon Knight for your shelf. And Chris says, terrific idea for this episode's theme. Had so much fun hearing you guys go through Mooney's various appearances and your wish list of possible future collections. Although it had my eye twitching a bit thinking about all the Moon Knight appearances I've yet to procure. Those Marvel fanfares were amazing. I do have that Moon Knight one, and it's great. It's really good artwork. The ending does get a little weird, but still appropriately weird for a Moon Knight issue. Thank you very much, Chris. I think he was alluding to, that was that bit, I'm not sure if you read it, Josh, where Moon Knight meets like almost Mother Earth, like Gaia.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
That sounds really weird.
It's very weird, and there's something about a small town. I can't remember. It's been a while. But yeah, no, thank you, Chris. Thank you for that. I'm glad you're enjoying it. These sorts of things from our idle chats and KHONSHU's relics, which is what we've got coming up, Josh, really does bring out some really cool ways to explore and different Moon Knight things. So there we go. So a huge thank you, Josh. Are you available for something a bit later in the week?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Oh, fantastic. So Loonies, next phase would be looking at a first quarter moon, and that means, as I mentioned, it's another KHONSHU's relics. So similar to that Moon Knight Collected, where we went to look at Moon Knight Collected formats, Josh and I, we might give a stab at Moon Knight letter pages. Now, I don't know if some of you Loonies would be familiar. Josh and I did a very, again, off the back of your idea, Josh, a very humorous, a very fun episode about reviews of Moon Knight products and stuff. That was highly entertaining. This time around, we're just going to look at some of the Moon Knight letters from the back of the comic book issues throughout all of the volumes. So we'll be zoning in, Josh, on the issue ones, I guess, of like the reactions to the kickoff of some series. So that should be fun. But Josh, a huge thank you. And I'm hoping maybe it's piqued your interest for more Ninjak.
Yeah, like I said, I have that fourth trade, and I need to track down the first three because I do want to read it all, because he is one of those ones where it's like, oh, he looks cool, and like he has like cool mask and whatever on, so he's up my alley. So I do want to read it. I have some Valiant stuff, like I said, I read X-Men Manowar, but I have a couple other ones that like I've gotten because I can get them for cheap, but I haven't actually read them. So maybe one of these weeks I need to go on just a Valiant binge and just read a whole bunch, because I think I have Harbinger, and I think I have what's that one? I can't remember the one. The cover is like the guy. It's like a blonde guy in glasses, and then another guy in a Deadpool suit, and then a goat. Quantum and Woody. Yeah, I have one of those.
That's pretty funny. You like if you don't mind like a bit of a comedy kind of thing, that's pretty fun, I think. So I highly recommend that as well. Yeah, a lot of Valiant stuff is very good. Their universe is very tight, so things have implications on other things, and big difference from other publications. When people die, they stay dead. So that's very unusual for some comics. Yeah. Anyway, a huge thank you again, Josh, and everyone. We'll catch you a bit later in the week for our KHONSHU's relics. Catch you then.
See you guys.
Moon Knight and affiliated characters, stories and events are properties of Marvel Characters Incorporated. Materials used and discussed within the podcast are intended for critique and review purposes only under the fair dealing concept of the current Copyright Act. The views, information, or opinions expressed during the podcast are solely those of the individuals involved and do not necessarily represent those of the copyright owners.